maybe YouTube might be losing its thing to live streaming now that Twitch has kind of exploded in with what it's doing. So
Yeah.
I think maybe
Yeah, definitely.
YouTube might be losing its kind of, I guess,
To
momentum as far as getting, I guess you could say, YouTubers.
Yeah, at least when it comes to Let's Plays, because as far as live streaming, mainly it's games or
Twitch.
like literally all its games. But
Yeah, because it's more fun. You can watch somebody playing it.
yeah,
I just saw somebody doing a stream of Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo for crying out loud.
yeah,
And it wasn't an emulator; it was the real deal. It was a console and all that, and it was kind of cool. I won't
yeah,
lie, because it's interesting to see a game from my childhood and a lot of people's childhoods. Now, obviously, everybody that grew up with that is going to get nostalgic, and they're going to go to it not because they want to see it, not because somebody's entertaining. They just want to have that nostalgia trip. But with YouTube, yeah, it's not as fun because you can't yell at somebody. You can yell in the comments, but with Twitch, you get it in real time. So
yeah,
you can be a real time ass, or you can be not.
yeah. And it also depends on what you're trying to like, what kind of show you're going for. Because if you're going for, like you said, the live stream, you can react to it. You know that that person is there at that time, playing the game. So like they're there while you're watching them, and then it's kind of like you're like sitting behind them watching them, I guess, kind of thing. It's like if that's the kind of feel you're going for, it's like Twitch definitely beats YouTube on that, like no doubt, because YouTube doesn't have a live stream capability, or not
Yeah.
capable. They don't have that. But like if you're going for like a let's play, that's like it's like some guys you really like watching play, and then they just record it and have a good time. So like at least for me is Game Grumps. Like I loved Game Grumps. It was
Yeah.
awesome. They pre-recorded and then put it on YouTube, and that's totally fine to me because it's like I don't like watch for the game. I watch it because the guys that are on it, or at least I used to watch it after
Yeah.
JonTron left. I stopped watching it, but it's like that for them, YouTube works for them because but then I'm assuming that's the kind of audience they bring in, is the audience that they don't care about the live stream kind of stuff. They're there for like the entertainment from them, from the players rather. And then yeah, I mean that's why Twitch does well is live streaming, and YouTube does well is video on demand. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and then what Twitch does bad is video on demand. And then
Well, not
and then,
not not really. I
yeah,
mean, granted, they've kind of gone back on how long you can hold your VODs, but they also have implemented you can just export them to a YouTube channel if you
yeah.
have a YouTube channel. So I
Yeah, but
feel
see, that's the
that
thing. You're exporting it to YouTube, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's still using YouTube to do that, to do the videos on demand. At least the part that includes video on demand, it's still exporting it to YouTube if you decide to go that route. But I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, like it's terrible, but it's like it's not as good. It's not YouTube level, that's for sure. If
Well,
yeah,
I don't think YouTube would be YouTube if it weren't for the fact that Google swung in and pumped
yeah,
that sucker so full of money. But YouTube, and we can't even when we're talking about YouTube, we got to remember it's Google.
yeah,
Okay, so Google, because they want to own everything. I swear, they and just like what was mentioned in the chat, man. If you've ever sat and read the user agreements, if you're a content provider, you get screwed so hard. I mean, you
yeah,
you pretty much have to game the system in order just to get even to break even. It's
yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. You get what, a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a cent for every click through, unless you're PewDiePie, and then you game the hell out of the system, which is fantastic. Which
yeah,
if anybody gets a chance, go to shill something that's not OP Noobs. I'm sorry, but I watch a lot of game theory on YouTube, and they came up with a really really plausible theory as to why PewDiePie is so damned popular, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the content. You can make yourself be an ass on YouTube, but if you know how to play it right, you can get all kinds of different viewerships and countries indexing your page or your video to the point where everybody's finding it
He's the
and
number
people,
one YouTube channel.
and then all of a sudden he becomes number one in less than a year. Why? Because he's screaming about bros and bro fisting, and man, come on. A lot of that, it's like the potato salad thing from Kickstarter. You know, nobody really liked it because they liked it. They liked it because, oh, it's ironic and it's online. Cynical me saying this one, but I mean, obviously YouTube does video on demand better than Twitch from the sounds of it. That's not the case, but XTI, yeah.
I think I think YouTube is really falling behind in how many subscribers they're getting nowadays, because a lot of people, like, they think about it, and you could get bigger. It would be a lot easier and quicker chance to get bigger off of Twitch nowadays than it would be off of YouTube, simply because YouTube is a lot harder crowd to applause when everyone already have their favorite YouTuber and already have all their subs. It's a lot harder to convince someone to subscribe to you and watch you all the time like that so you could get money than it would be for someone just to click in your stream, laugh a couple of times, and decide, okay, I'm going to follow this dude, and then dip out. So you can start getting an audience like that.
Yeah, especially because Twitch is more specific. It's like, because it's like, what do I want to do? I want to watch live stream games. All right, I go to Twitch. And then on top of that, you don't just go to Twitch and then just search for whatever. You go to Twitch, and then it's like, then they got subcategories. It's like, what game you're looking for? All right, here you go. And then they throw you in that section of games. And then it shows you who's currently online live streaming, who's offline, things like that. It's like YouTube. You just put a video on YouTube, and it's lost in the sea.
The sea of like endless of videos and stuff. Now you're just another, you know what I mean? You're just another video, and if you get lucky, you'll have people watching it, so you can go through the pages, and if not, you're just screwed. You know, so I don't really like YouTube. It's always a good thing, I think, if you could get famous off YouTube first, probably, and then start streaming, because it'll be easier streaming. But if you get, famous streaming or bigger off streaming first and then go on YouTube, you will have a lot easier.
But then again, it's like, it's really it's not, at least for me, I don't really see it as like a Twitch versus YouTube thing, because it's like they both do what they were originally made for really well. YouTube was originally, or not originally, but it's like it was made for video on demand, does that really well. Twitch is made for live streaming. It does that really well. It really depends on what you're going for. Like if you're going for more of a show along the lines of Game Grumps, you're going to go more probably to YouTube, video on demand kind of thing. Like so that way you can do like post editing, things like that. But if you're just going like for more of a like kind of like just in the moment, kind of like, you just put content right on, things like that. You go to Twitch and then you stream on Twitch. There you go. It's like, I don't know. It's all like personal preference kind of thing. What you're trying to get it out of.
I think it really goes together, though, simply because if you're making money off of one thing, you can make money off the other thing easy. It's just both of them are so hard to get into the point where you're making a good amount of money that it really discourages people. But if, let's say, for example, I don't even have a YouTube channel and I'm live streaming on Twitch, I'm getting 200 people whenever I live stream. If I decided to make a YouTube videos and throw up my highlight, all of a sudden I at least have 100 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And that's just because of the benefits of having Twitch and YouTube. And you can make money off of both. You can get your highlights from Twitch, throw it up on YouTube for anyone that didn't see it, make money like that. And that's what a lot of people are doing now, because Twitch saves your video. So you can just get your highlight and then throw it up. And then all of a sudden you don't have to actually make a YouTube video anymore. Now you can just throw up your highlights, and then now you're just making money off of both things at once.
They definitely go in tandem. And it is great that like people who have Twitch make YouTube channels, because sometimes I'll see stuff on Twitch which I thought was really awesome, and I would like to see it again, like for whatever reason, or maybe show someone or whatever, but I can't because it's like a live thing. But then it's like, wait a minute, yeah, you can, because then that person they either have it or they have the whole video like on YouTube, or the video demand, even the video demand on Twitch, it's not that bad. It's like you can go on, find it. But yeah, if you're looking for a specific moment, boom, there you go. It's on their YouTube, and then you're fine. It's like,
well, I think another thing you guys are kind of missing is that YouTube does have a live streaming function, though.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it does have a live streaming function.
Yes, I'm
not really used.
I'm partnered on YouTube, and I've kind of looked into maybe, well, at the time when this is when I first started streaming, I started my YouTube to just link up my past VODs to that, because this is right around when Twitch was deciding when they just released the update that we're not going to be keeping your VODs forever. We're going to be deleting them, for after so long.
How nice
So
of them.
so I was all like, well, I guess I could just, since I can link my YouTube, I'll just upload them to there. And then I got partnered through YouTube on that, and then I was looking through their function. It's like, wait, they have a live streaming function, and it kind of seems to me like a function that doesn't get used as often.
No.
And I think that's because, and I don't know when they added this. I don't know I don't know if it's always been there, but I think maybe it's because Twitch is kind of taken over the live streaming as we know it. I mean, when
Google
you
couldn't
think
buy they couldn't buy
Right.
Twitch over Amazon, so they're like, we got to add one in.
Yeah.
The live streaming. But yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, as a streamer, like I'm assuming you know about how the Google Live, or not Google, the whatever, same thing, I guess, the YouTube stream works. Would you still rather stream on Twitch than YouTube?
Oh yeah, just because of the sheer fact. I mean, what do I come to Twitch for? What did I come to Twitch for in the beginning?
These
Because
games.
I've only recently gotten into Twitch. I didn't realize Twitch started like back in 2007 ish. I don't know but whenever it was Justin TV, I didn't realize that's when it started, and that's when it spawned out. It's only in recent years that I found out about Twitch, and thought it would be cool to do that, and then I actually did it, and I kind of found out that it's kind of something I enjoy to do. Because I think it takes video gaming to a whole nother level, as opposed to when there wasn't live streaming at all.
I think it's because you feel you feel the need to play your best. You feel like you have to be entertaining when you're live streaming, simply because people are watching you. You can't just mess around and troll, and you can't just do whatever and not caring games, because people will leave or people will talk bad and not want to come back. When you're live streaming, there's that extra pressure when people are watching you, that you have to do your best. You have to be entertaining and stuff like that. That's why it's a lot different experience from when you're just sitting here playing, from when people are watching you play.
Yeah, because we don't really have that anymore. Because a lot of it's just you're online. There's really no more like couch co-op like there used to be, or even if it wasn't couch co-op. Because I remember growing up, Ocarina of Time on the 64. I actually watched my friend's older brother play that like every single day. I was there watching him play that, and then he never let me play it, but I watched it and I really loved it. And it's like, I don't know, maybe he did feel like, because it was me and his friend like watching, we're like, oh, the greatest game ever made. The graphics are so good, but it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm pretty sure that gives the similar feeling of, if you were streaming today, is like people are watching you, even if it's a single player game, people are watching you play. And then you have an audience, because even though it was an audience of only 2 kids watching them, it's like that was like back then equivalent.
That's still 2 people.
Yeah. That was the back then equivalent of like Twitch. It's like, you're in a room, everyone's watching you play that game, and it's like, whether for mainly, at least back then, it was more single player, because multiplayer, it's like everyone's like playing and everyone is focusing on their own performance and trying not to look at other people's half screens and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's that adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, oh man, I got to do better than I was doing before, because they're watching me and they're gonna make fun of me if I don't. And now it's, oh my god, I gotta do my best, because I'm gonna lose out on my sponsorship if I don't do my best. Like it's kind of the same thing. I mean, either way, it's driving people to be as good as they possibly can be at games, which is not it's not a bad thing by any means. It's here's the real kicker though, and I do ask this of anybody I'm always asking about esports: is it seriously a sport? And I say that simply because, keep in mind, we live in a world where curling is an Olympic sport. Curling. Brushes and a disc, we can do that.
Yeah, we're curling the thing on the ice where it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
So
okay.
So anybody that tells you, well, no, you're not doing anything physical, these guys are sweeping stuff on ice. So you can ignore that. But is it really a sport?
Well, I don't. My question, my counter question, I guess, is first of all, what's the definition of a sport?
See, that's the thing that nobody ever seems to ask. They'll throw up articles saying esports are not sports.
Yeah, they're not
But
sports.
they'll
Get
never
outta
really
here.
say, what is technically a sport. Is it something where your adrenaline rises? Are we doing the scientific definition where your heart rate increases, cardio, where you're sweating?
If
Have you
that's the case, then
seen
yes, the
sports?
answer would be yes.
Yeah. Have you seen a LAN party? Have you seen people on Twitch playing games? Man, they're wiping themselves down. They're sweating all over the place. They got fans. They got ice on their heads. Yeah, they're playing it for 72 hours. That's an Iron Man match as far as I'm concerned. But
Yeah.
at what point can you honestly say that yes, indeed, it is a sport? I mean, what takes a game from being a game to an actual sport level game, an
I
esports level game?
I don't. Well, I don't know because I guess that's like two different kind of questions because it would be
I
like because it would be like question one would be is esports considered a sport and then we would go into like what is a sport anyways, but then I guess the second thing would be what takes an activity, what's the point that an activity becomes a sport.
right.
So like at what point in like mankind
Does it switch from game
did
to
a
sport?
kicking a ball in the street turn into a sport, which is like soccer? It's like, it's like when does it like chess is a sport. So what point did chess become a logic game where you just played it to a sport? It's like I guess at least for me, it's like I guess competition is that probably what it is people who play
Yeah,
competitively.
I think that's what it is when like there's something on the line, when there's something for you to actually gain from playing the game. Because when you're kicking a ball around, you're just playing the game for fun. But when you're playing soccer, you get to win the game, and then there's a reward after winning the game. And I think that would be
Yeah.
the separating factor.
Yeah, because I think that's the competitiveness. Because then again, if you can make, you can make a sport. What is it? Iron Chef. Iron Chef. You could
Nah.
say that's you could say cooking in that sense is a sport because it was a competition. They would do it, see who wins. But then what is the
reward.
activity they're doing? It's cooking. And then if someone says esports is not a physical activity, cooking is a physical activity. So then is cooking a sport in a context of a competition?
Well,
It's
I
like-
mean, if that's the case, then yes, it requires mental dexterity. You need to be able to multitask. You need to be able to process a lot of different things at the same time. Oh, gee, that kind of sounds like a game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, just because you're not, you can sit there and be all padded up and have
like-
shoulder guards on and a helmet and whatnot, and then you just look like the really weird guy in the corner. But at the end of the day, you're still playing a sport. That's kind of how I see it.
yeah, I
And
think
this
a
is
sport, whatever you make it.
I mean, this is someone that has played sports in the past, and I'm sure everybody here has played a sport in some way, shape, or form, right?
Mhm.
You're still in that mindset where you got to beat the other guy. You've got to be better than the other guy. You've got to be able to think faster, move faster than the other guy. Does that not sound like a competitive multiplayer game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
kinda
even
debate,
even if it's not even if it's not in a multiplayer,
Yeah.
what is it? A multiplayer sense? Because then you can have games where there's single player games, but then there's global leaderboards where it's like who's the fastest of everyone to complete this level, and it's like, you can. That's still you going against something else to, I guess to like beat them in a record because that's still a record. I don't know. It's like hot dog eating contest. It's like, is that a sport? Probably. It's like, I don't know.
See, I think people are really starting to take the seriousness of esports because there's already colleges offering scholarships for people that are certain ranked in League of Legends right now.
Yeah. And that's nuts to me. I mean,
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
that as somebody that got into college through scholarships and blood and sweat and all and academic stuff, Now, hey, that guy that just beat your ass in the 5-on-5, he just got a scholarship to a college.
Yeah, where was I? Where was that when I was in high school?
Right? Where were the Diablo scholarships? God damn it! Pardon my freaking language. Why were there none of those?
Well, it's like
Why is this the brave new world now?
I guess it's the popularity as now it's becoming bigger. It's coming, it's better. Like Twitch hasn't like really exploded until recently. It's like now it's super exploded. Or Let's Plays haven't really like launched until just like recently. The past like couple of years is where Let's Plays and like all that have like really launched. And then they're all game. And then the thing is they're all game centered because then the Let's Plays and then the live streams they make games popular, and then as games get popular, it's like the live streams still get more popular, and then it's like and then esports get popular, and then games in general get popular. Like now it's like you can go to someone on the street who like never plays games. They most likely heard of GTA 5, and it's like, okay, or like they heard about the new Mortal Kombat. They're like, oh, they may not know two specifics. They're like, oh, that one game where like it's brutally violent and you like rip someone's heart out. And it's like, yeah, it's like they'll know about the game, but it's like because games are just getting more popular. They're like the popularity is skyrocketing.
Well, it's just like what Heroes of the Storm has Heroes of the Dorm right now, where they're offering if you registered, if you're a registered student and then you registered a team, you could play, and they were put, as far as I know, I heard they were being shown on ESPN. So, but if you're in college and you register a team, if you have a registered team and you can win up, like grant money or money to go towards college, and it's being broadcasted on ESPN. I mean, where was that? Where was that 10 years ago? It's all like that. That was non-existent 10 years ago.
Yeah, because I think the first game that was aired on television, which I guess wider television, which would be ESPN. The game was, I believe, the first game ever to be broadcast at ESPN. It was Dota 2 for the International 4 Championship, which was last summer. That was only last year. That was the first time an esports competition was aired on TV. So it's kind of like, it's like, it's going. It's like when it hit ESPN, it's like, oh man, it's like, I mean, they didn't get as much viewers because it's, people go for ESPN for other sports, but it's still like, it still made it to ESPN.
Yeah, you know what? You can also, and this is always polarizing, but you can also find results from WWE pay-per-views on ESPN as well. So many people will say, "Oh, that's not a sport." Yeah, it is. It is. Same dexterity is necessary. Same mental acuity is necessary. Same, I'm not gonna kill this guy by performing.
Sometimes matches are fixed, like some other sports. Not just saying. I'm not saying anything.
That's true. Like there's always that greed, like you said before, between people. They don't want to risk not earning any money, so they rather risk, just doing it illegally, so everyone could win.
Yeah, it's like there's cheating at all.
It worked for the Black Sox scandal, but people have been fixing sports of all kinds for years upon years upon years upon years. It's just a matter of not getting
everything caught. For as long as humans existed, there has always been cheating in anything, whether it's sports or I don't know, whatever else. I guess
we are bastards, aren't we? But it just seems really strange to me. I mean, I would have loved to have seen a competitive Doom off back in 93 or 95 or something.
It's like whoever can beat the game fastest. Like, all right, cool. It's like whatever.
Like speed runs of Doom, speed runs in general. There's a question. I mean, we'll get back to the esports thing in a minute, but speed runs, we see a lot. I always just called them glitches. But apparently this is a big thing now. Is people are excited about beating games in under 5 seconds, 30 seconds or so. I mean, what do you consider a speed run? Do you consider a speed run if somebody starts the game from the beginning and then goes all the way through, or is it somebody that uses a glitch to get through? Or
I don't like the glitch speed runs. I think that I don't know. I feel like it's like. it's very I guess gimmicky. Is the, like it's because it's like you're using a glitch. It's like you know, it's like
Yeah, you're not
of
really
course you're
beating the
doing.
whole game.
Yeah, it's like you're
Yeah.
not. Yeah, that's why I'm like when it comes to glitches, no. Those are like I'm not interested in seeing those because even if it's not like let's say we're not talking about in a competitive sense,
Mm.
it just has a purely entertainment value. Speed runs, if I'm watching it just for purely entertainment, I still don't watch the glitch ones because it's like it's a glitch. It's like you know, of course he's gonna go fast because you know he's using that. What I love to see is the people who are like the absolute incredibly insane coordination and speed it takes to get through a game without using any cheats or anything like that. Because that it blows my mind to know that someone can play that game like that. Like because like the one that still blows my mind is the Super Mario 64 speed run of the guy who beat it in an hour and 46 minutes. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't
Wow.
use any glitches or anything like that. That was this is insane, and it's because I love that game. I played that game as a kid. I loved it, and it's like just seeing like that game that you love that someone can just like just seeing the how far you can go skill wise with that game, even though it's just a single player game, is incredible. It's like because he that took training. Like someone you can train in that and then be like he's literally a professional at Super Mario 64. If that makes any sense, it's like. That it's
So
amazing.
you know
Yeah, it makes sense.
where's that guy's scholarship, huh? You know, but
Yeah,
an hour in don't you have to get like what 40, 50 stars in the
Yeah.
game just to get to the final area? That's
Yeah,
nuts.
I don't know. I really I don't know how he did it, but it's amazing. Or the guy
I
who did it in Ninja Gaiden, he did it on the hardest difficulty, the one on the Xbox, hard difficulty, and he didn't get hit once.
Jeez. You know, it's funny. Yeah, actually funny that you mentioned the Super Mario thing, but I was really looking forward to that. I don't know if anybody else got a chance to play it before it got taken down because Nintendo hates when people have better ideas than them. But some coder using the Unity engine actually went ahead and revamped the heck out of
Oh,
Super Mario 64 and gave it a nice HD paint job.
yeah. The
Gorgeous.
lighting in it was
Ah,
amazing. It
it
blew
was
my mind.
absolutely beautiful.
So it's a
And
game.
yeah, no, it was somebody took the first level of Super Mario 64 and revamped it for use on a PC. It was
Uh,
originally released as just a test, like a demo of some controller, a USB controller, and the guy thought, well, why not? I'll release the first level of Super Mario 64. And it was absolutely gorgeous. Nintendo, of course, got wind of it because it got so popular, and Nintendo said,
They're like,
no, you're going to
nope.
take that down now.
Yeah, because now emulators, they're like killing emulators. They're destroying them because they have their thing. That's why it's like, you know, PSA, hey, if you like emulators on your PC, I'm not going to tell you to go get them, but Nintendo's taking them down. So,
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Please, Nintendo, don't crucify me.
Oh,
I
we're
love
all
your
dead.
games.
Nope, we
Yes.
just got cut off. I'm sorry. We just got called by Nintendo of America's legal team, which are oddly enough in Portland.
actually,
So
most of them are Nintendo of Japan that are doing most of the takedowns.
yeah, that's
It,
true. But the
it,
most recent one, this one was from a legal firm that I actually see on my way to work every day. It's a Portland, Oregon-based firm, which the name escapes me because I don't have the page up fast enough. But basically, they sent a DMCA to the guy. What's really funny is that the creator, the creator himself did not put the level up. A friend of his put it up and put it up for download. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
I
It
wonder
should
how
only
that
take
works
me
then
just
legally
seconds.
because it's not his
Yeah,
fault.
yeah, because it wasn't the creator that did it, but the friend just said, "Okay, fine, Nintendo will take it down." Yeah, it was created by a fellow named Eric Ross, but he did not actually put it up. A friend actually said that he put it up for just because he thought it was so awesome. But, then Nintendo said no. And it's probably because Nintendo does have that new fun little
ultra
thing
secret.
going on. Yeah, that ultra secret, we're not going to talk about it thing, but it's going to revolutionize the gaming industry entirely.
Oh, they
Thing.
said something like that?
You
Yeah.
should pre-order it, but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, they
Yes,
had pre-orders for
exactly.
it, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah, because Nintendo, it was during a press release where they were talking about they were hooking up with a mobile developer to bring their IP, like Zelda and Mario and Metroid and all that, to mobile devices, and it was just a throwaway line. Like there was no the press release was for that, not this. So it was just an offhanded Satoru Iwata, the CEO of
Like,
Nintendo,
it's
said,
like-
you know, we have something in the works, not a big deal. It's just going to revolutionize the gaming industry as we know it. It's going to connect PC and consoles and
But
everything.
it's not a big deal. Don't worry
But
about it.
it's not. We don't care. It's not. We'll get around to it. But you know, here's our mobile thing. But it will be better than everything. And the
I'm
only thing
starting to
that we
be really
know,
gun shy now of that,
Yeah.
because a lot of stuff is getting overhyped nowadays. Everything
think-
is getting overhyped.
Yeah, I don't know what it could be. Unless it's
they
like
call that
the-
they call that Molyneuxization. They call it Peter Molyneux.
Oh man,
but yeah,
he gets such a bad rep.
I know. I feel bad for him. But every time a new game comes out with his name on it, it's like it's going to revolutionize the world. And then it
Yeah.
comes out and it's like, yeah, we couldn't do that.
I just feel bad because it doesn't seem like he wants to overhype it. It just seems he himself is so excited for the game. He just happens to overhype it, and he forgets he's the creative director. So then he's
Yeah.
like, "Whoops!"
I mean, I see it the same way as well, as with everything that he's done. I mean, stretching as far back as Bullfrog, you know, dearly departed Bullfrog. It's always been, we're going to revolutionize such. It's like Mad Libs whenever Peter Molyneux speaks, because he buys into his hype so hard that I genuinely do think that he's not trying to mislead anyone. I think he just really is excited for the ideas. And then when it comes down to putting it into print, he's like, oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. But I already said that shit.
Yeah.
And so he's already screwed. He's already stuck. And he has to come up with something absolutely amazing that is better than what he sold it as. And he's fantastic at selling because we keep buying it. Because
he's
we keep
good.
expecting-
Yeah,
he's
good. I like him. He's a good developer. It's
But-
good. And Fable 1 was so good.
Yeah, but when I read in that Rock Paper Shotgun blasting about a month ago or 2 months ago, and they led off with, so Peter, do you think you're a pathological liar, or like that's what you're leading off with? Oh,
Yeah,
so
it's like,
I read to the
come on.
rest of it. Like, this is Peter friggin' Molyneux. You know, this is black and white. This is
Fable.
yeah, granted Goddess, but yeah, Fable, definitely. But do you really want to? Come on, couldn't you be a little nicer about that? Yes,
yeah, that's
it
a
does,
really strong way.
It
to
does
talk.
seem like it seems to be a common thing for him. He really liked, but I think it just he really, really passionately believes what he's saying.
Yeah.
And
But the thing is,
it's
how many times can that happen before you're like, all right, I need to stop doing that?
approximately
Yeah.
13.
No, exactly. Because now I haven't heard a story about him like doing the same thing he does. Like he's stopped. It's like
He basically said, I am not. I don't think he stopped. I think he just went on record and said, I'm not talking to anybody else. And then the Guardian UK came around, and then he said, okay, I'll give you this interview, but I won't say anything. And then another publication came by. All right, I swear this is my last one. And that was it. So we haven't heard anything out of Mr. Molyneux since then, and it's really unfortunate because I think, you know, forget being wistful, but I think he really genuinely enjoys what he does.
yeah.
I think that he just got wrapped up in the hype of, okay, what do we do to sell this? What do we do to get people to buy it? We have to be more and more bombastic with each press release. We got to say that it cures cancer in this one, and then it cures AIDS in this one, and then it cures super AIDS in this one. And, you know, it's one of those situations where I just think he got too wrapped up. He got high on his own supply.
Yeah.
I think
Essentially.
Ubisoft is doing the same kind of mistake where like they're overhyping their games and they're just pushing games out and like most of the games come out broken or not finished, or it was a whole bunch of like Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was a huge disappointment
Yeah.
from Ubisoft. It was nowhere near the same graphics as they made it to seem like it was in
Unity,
V3.
Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed Unity.
Oh
What
yeah,
was
it
the
says
budget on Watch Dogs for advertisement? Wasn't it like $500,000 or something?
yeah, like
Yes.
yeah.
It was
Yeah, no, it's
more. It was
ridiculous.
probably more than the game itself. Oh God. Pre-delay. This was back in January 2014. Whew. The pre-delay budget was 68 million.
68. That's around how much they spend on movies nowadays.
Yeah, it was a $68 million
That's-
game. That's all the budget. That was all the budget.
Yeah, but
And
at least
that
their games are
that
broken.
has, I gotta say,
Yeah.
here's the part that scares me the most, though, is in reading this article, it then says, and I'm going to cite the source. The site source was VG247. Oh gosh. So back in 2014, the budget was 68 million, but that does not count marketing. We do not have a solid budget figure on marketing.
And they was marketing that game a lot.
I don't even know what to think about that. Did they just go to the marketing department, write them a blank check, and go like, "All right, see what you guys need on that,
Yeah.
and then let us know later."
That I saw buses driving around with Watchdog ads all over the place. Oh, hang on. I think. Oh, that can't be right. Oh, hang on. Wikipedia, don't.
I remember
It was
watching
it.
a video.
I remember. I can't remember if it's Destiny or Watch Dogs, but it's one of the
think
two. They had, and it was just astronomically unthought of amount, at least to me, for advertisement wise, for advertisement and marketing of a game. I know it was one of the two.
Oh,
Probably Destiny.
Watch Dogs, it's blank. So there's no record of the marketing budget. Destiny. Wow.
Destiny.
Man, when Bobby Kotick comes out and says this, that's nasty. So in May 2014, Bobby Kotick came out and said that Destiny is a $500 million gamble.
Mm-hmm. That went horrible.
I didn't even know
So-
what to. I didn't even know.
I'll give you a second to pull your jaw back up. Yeah, Destiny could be the most
Half a billion.
Activision, Actibliz, planning to spend $500 million on development and promotion. So that's combining the two. So considering that Destiny was in-game advertised in other games as well as advertised all over the place, God, I can only imagine how much Watch Dogs was advertised cost-wise.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't know. I kind of feel like they're insecure. They're insecure about the games, because like, at least if I'm reading this correctly online, the cost to, at least it says the cost to develop and market the game, just develop and market together for GTA 5, which is 265 million. That's half. That's half.
Yeah, but they sold billions in the first week.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why they think that the only reason I could think that companies like, or games like Destiny, Watch Dogs think they have to advertise so hard to sell the game is because they're not confident that the game will sell in the first place. Like GTA, Rockstar, first of all, they're Rockstar. Second of all, it's Grand Theft Auto. Like they know, like, that's it. They're fine. Like they're totally set. It's kind of like Valve. Like when Valve release stuff, like they don't really like market it as hard as other companies because
They
they're
don't
like,
need to.
yeah, they don't need to.
We'll
It's
buy
like
it.
it's Valve.
We'll just shovel it down our throats and just
We'll
shove
buy
it
it
in there.
and complain about it, buy it more, buy hats for it, and then it's like Half-Life 3 now with hats. It's like, all right, cool. It's like,
I'm looking forward to when Valve can count to 3.
yeah, I think,
don't-
okay, rumor says, which this doesn't, it literally means nothing, is gonna happen this year is the rumor. Just because but at least the reason why I believe it this year more than every other year that rumors were made is because this year they did announce Source 2. And usually a new engine comes with a new Half-Life. So hopefully Source 2 is coming with a new Half-Life. But then again, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, Valve, they don't really, like a friend of mine told me, which totally makes sense, is that Valve, they don't really seem like they want to do single player anymore. You know, it's all about multiplayer for them now. Like CS:GO, Team Fortress, the Dota 2, I guess Portal's the only other kind of like single player, but even Portal 2 has co-op, so it's like, okay, cool.
So does that mean maybe a Half-Life Online? Maybe, who knows?
Half-Life Online.
No. We don't need another online game. Elder Scrolls was enough. See, this is what irritated me about Elder Scrolls Online. Sorry for anyone that plays it.
It's fine.
When we asked Bethesda, we would like multiplayer in this game. Bethesda somehow translated that to, what's that? You want massively multiplayer? Gotcha. We're going to not do any more Elder Scrolls games. We're going to do Elder Scrolls Online. We're not doing a sequel to Skyrim. We're going to do this thing. No, that's...
Oh, yeah. The funny thing is they didn't even develop
online
the game.
That's
the funniest thing. They didn't develop it. They let ZeniMax Studios Online develop the game. So it's not even by Bethesda. It's ZeniMax Studios. And then on top of that, it's like, even if it was by ZeniMax or even if it was by Bethesda, whatever, the final game wasn't what some people wanted it to be. They're like, oh, it's basically a MMO with the Elder Scrolls like skin on it. And it's not a bad MMO, but it's like, they're like, what people wanted was Skyrim Online, not MMO Elder Scrolls. It was like, we wanted like basically Skyrim, but it's like co-op. Or like
that's
like more.
That's exactly what I felt that game missed. Was that it needs even if it just needed some sort of online function, because it would have just been great to play with other people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm like. I don't know. Like, I guess GTA, like some people, at least from my hearing, they did well with GTA Online. It's like it does actually feel like a GTA game it's just with other people are online with you. Yeah. So I heard they actually did that well, and it's like, all right, cool. But then it's like they couldn't do that for Skyrim, or I guess they didn't want to do that for Skyrim unless they're saving it for Elder Scrolls 6. But then again, I don't know if I feel comfortable if they're saving it for 6, because I'd rather have them focus on single player than the multiplayer. Because like that's
good. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, in every game, every game is like, everyone's got to remember, if there's multiplayer in that game, that cuts out of development for the time for the single player. It's like, or because then they have to commit more resources to multiplayer, or like they have to commit more resources to the game in general. So that's why it's like, I don't know. That's why I was worried about GTA 5 when they announced online. I was like, I hope it doesn't hurt the single player. But yeah, what were you saying?
One game that I really wanted to see multiplayer in, and I have no shame about this, Bloodlines. Vampire Bloodlines. The game that came out by Troika, published by Activision, which killed Troika, which was unfortunate, but I would have really, really liked to have seen, and I'm pretty sure there's still the possibility of modding it in there if, CCP Games would not keep striking down every single fan mod that has ever come out for Vampire, since they own the IP. But this is also the same company that does EVE Online, and they were doing a World of Darkness, Vampire the Masquerade MMO. They were doing it for 10 years in development, and then they decided, nope, we're going to stop. We're done. 10 years of work down the drain. How many millions of dollars do you think were probably tossed away at that point? I mean,
that's the kind of thing that ruins people's lives.
Yeah.
Because you've got a project like that.
Yeah, you've got developers that sink how much time, how much money, are probably wrapped up in NDAs, can't talk about it, can't really leak anything that the company doesn't tell them to leak. And then all that hard work pretty much down the drain. Is that really a worthwhile risk? If And we're probably going to have to wrap this up because, good Lord Almighty, we've been talking for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm actually pretty impressed with us all. If given the opportunity, I mean, I'm not very crafty myself, but given the opportunity, instead of playing the games, if anybody here would ever want to, has anybody ever entertained the idea of entering the gaming industry as a developer, as a, like a tester or anything like that?
I want to be a programmer. That's
Yeah?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in college
Yeah.
for it right now.
Awesome.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought about it a while back about getting into developing but then down the road, I found that what I really want to do, at least when it comes to video games, is I really want to. I think the right place for me is voice acting. Is like because anytime I play games and stuff like that, it's like the characters and the voice acting is like what really like gets me going and stuff. So that's why I kind of like dropped my like wanting to be a developer and stuff like that, and rather go for like more of the voice acting. And then I guess in that way, I'm like developing the character aspect of games. And then you never know. I guess like once you're in the industry as like a whatever, once you're in the industry as anything, you could go to like different departments maybe or whatever. But yeah, at least for me, I did think about it, but then I found what I really wanted to do.
I've very briefly worked on some indie games in the past, mostly just not necessarily for writing, but more or less just keeping them all in line. So there was a thing that I came across just totally by accident recently. It was a browser-based game, and it's called The Writer Will Fix. I think it was The Writer. Let me see if I can find it. The Writer Will Do Something, and it's totally text-based. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure type of game. And you take the place of a writer on a huge AAA game, and you're 6 months to releasing the game, and the focus group has basically said your game is shit, it's unplayable, this is the worst crap we've ever seen. And so now everybody else is busy pointing fingers and saying, well, art direction is the reason why the game's bad. No, your crappy mechanics are the reason the game is bad. No, the fact that we sunk this much money into the partnership with a different company, that's what killed the game. Now you, playing as the lowly writer, have to figure out how to make this game, A, not suck, and B, not suck. And there is a way to actually, I don't want to say anything about it, but there is a way to actually do it and make sure that nobody quits and nobody gives up, and the game releases on time, under budget, and fully staffed. But it's really friggin' hard.
Sounds
But
like Game Dev Tycoon, just in text base.
yeah, it kind of is. It's just unlike Game Dev Tycoon. There's no, you don't have to manage any of the money or the marketing budget. You basically just multiple choice your way through this thing. And you have to be able to guess how someone's going to react to a gentle nudge saying, well, maybe we should have had that tutorial level, or maybe we should have not spent that much money on the partnership with Mountain Dew. We can't say the name of this because we'll get sued. That kind of thing. So it's actually a really interesting dynamic to show that anybody can keep a game from sucking, or anybody can make a game suck. So
Yeah.
But I mean, with all the stuff that's going on, I mean, we talked about Destiny having a ridiculous budget and still sucking. Let's be honest, it sucked. And Assassin's Creed, we're going to release this like Jason Voorhees type of movies once a year until it dies. We've got Assassin's Creed coming out all the time, and it's steadily getting worse.
So boring.
We've got Titanfall, which was really great when it came out and then died.
Well, there is a 2 in the works from what I hear.
There is indeed a 2.
I heard the story of Titan was complete crap, and there was barely any of it there in the first place.
Oh, what was that old quote from John Romero? Was it John Romero from id Software? He said that story in a game is like a storyline in a porn. You expect it to be there, but it doesn't need to be there. So I don't know. Titanfall doesn't seem like it should have a story to me. It's a multiplayer shooter with mechs. I don't need a story.
Yeah.
Just point me in a direction. I will shoot stuff.
Yeah, and a story, I mean, yeah, and it's like that's yeah, because I know that argument a lot. Like some people play games like, oh, it's for the story, and some people are like, the games are just for graphics or just for story. But it's like in the end of the day, it's the gameplay. It's like that's why you can play a game. So it's like, I mean, it's nice that it has a story. That's
Yeah.
cool. But it's like I mean, if John Romero is the one who said that, I totally agree with him. It's like it's not the main focus for a game is the story. So it's like, why do people give a lot of flack to Titanfall for having a bad story? It's like because it's like it has a bad story.
Yeah.
Fine.
It-
It's like whatever. It's like I mean, unless you win it, if you bought Titanfall for the story, I think your expectations.
Yeah, for
You
stories.
You bought the
there.
wrong game for a
You
story.
bought the wrong game
Right?
for a story. Exactly.
Right. And yeah, it was John Romero. My memory is good for something. And it's kind of true, but then again, he did make Daikatana.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to take that with a grain of salt because that game was
It tried.
guilt-
It tried to do story, but then again, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
at least he tried to do story, just so you know. Because if people, I'm pretty sure people back then when he said it were like, well, you never tried to make a game with a story, and then he did, and then we all saw how that happened.
well, I mean, God, my memory fails me. Which came out first, Daikatana or Deus Ex? Because I'm a serious Deus Ex fanboy. I'll admit that.
I think
And
actually,
they did story really well.
yeah, well, Deus Ex, the story for Deus Ex, because I never played it when it originally came out, which I believe it came out in I think 2000, right?
Yeah, in 2000.
Yeah, I had never originally played it because I never had a PC at that time. I went back and played it last year, or I think about a year and a half ago, and I mean, even though the mechanics is a bit weird to get used to, and the graphics, of course, is like whatever. It's like
Yeah.
I can get past that, but oh man, there was
So-
so many mechanics and story, and the way the story was told that blew my mind. Because now I can see where a lot of the games today get it from. It's Deus Ex.
So what's
Deus
funny
Ex.
about that is Deus Ex actually came out after Daikatana. Daikatana came out in April that year, and Deus Ex came out in June of that year. So, you know,
Yeah.
who did it first and who did it better is the
Yeah.
better question. And look, if you go to opnoobs.com, shameless plug, you will find that we have a bunch of user profiles on there. And yeah, my entire background is Adam, I didn't ask for this, Jensen from Deus Ex. So I admit to being a bit of a fanboy for Deus Ex, which we didn't even bother talking about the new game that's coming out.
Oh yeah, we can save that for next time. It's all
yeah.
good.
But you know, that leak that just so happened the other day, just the day before the trailer came out. Yeah,
But-
leak in a whole magazine. Sure, okay. Yeah, that's a leak, right? Yeah, but yeah, that's coming out.
At least when Daikatana, actually, I mean, because a story in game, definitely, I'm not saying, you shouldn't have it, but it's like, definitely it's cool. But now that I think about it, if you get a guy who says that quote, basically what John Romero says, to make a game where it focuses more on story, it's like, I'm kind of not surprised the story didn't work out. It's because like he kind of like is given the impression as he doesn't really, believe in story in game as much. I'm not saying he doesn't believe it at all, but not as much as not as much as other game developers like the whoever made Deus Ex or whoever made like BioShock, things like that. It's like those games, like they focus more on that.
Well, I mean, we got to remember that John Romero is, and I'm not knocking on this to the coder that is on the stream right now. John Romero's a coder. Okay, he probably thinks in a very logical, progressive manner. I mean, he built as far as I know, he did the level design. Basically, he basically is the cornerstone of Doom, right?
Yeah.
Doom didn't have a story. It didn't need a story.
Yeah.
It did have a story, but it was thrown out and then used for those really weird tie-in novels, but which I read and they didn't suck. But at the end of the day, do you really need a story for a lot of these games? I mean, we know what a first-person shooter is. It's go in that direction, make that stuff dead.
Yeah. Nice. It's like cool.
Yeah,
I
do
think
we
a
need
story. I think a
yeah.
story is just really. It's just really important for the people that love the story because the story explains to people why things are happening in the first place. You know what I mean? You can't just really just drop someone off and like, here's some zombies, here's a gun. All right, go kill them all, and then we'll explain later. People
Call
really
of
want
Duty
to be
did
able
it.
to. Yeah, Call
Call
of
it
yeah. Other than Call of Duty, but most people want to be able to go in a story, be like, okay, this is what's happening, this is why it's happening, this is my goal, this is why it's my goal. Now I have more of a motive to be able to play the game and to be able to continue with the story and be able to really, be able to dive into it. Because really, that's really all it is for me. If I can't really dive into the game, into the story, and to be able to actually caring about the story, then I really find myself to get bored. I'll skip the dialogue. I'll just run around, shoot everything, and then I'll end up dropping the game because I don't really care for it. There's plenty of shooting games, but why should I care about that shooting game? What makes it special?
Yeah, well,
And
I mean,
yeah,
the thing with games, it's like a lot of people, at least when they come into these debates, it's like they see it as a separate thing. But it's like I forgot which developer said it. They said the thing about story in games is that it's not really like a separate thing. To a certain extent, of course, it's separate. The story than the gameplay. But the most important thing, the stories that are like the best stories you find in games in gaming history, is the ones where the gameplay and the story complement each other. Like the story explains why you're doing things in the gameplay, and the gameplay affects your story, and like they both like go in tandem with each other. That's why I mean, like, because I totally understand why you're a Deus Ex fanboy. I loved when I played Deus Ex 2000, like the first one. I is ridiculous. I was like 14 years late, and I fell in love with that game, and I still
Mhm.
love that game. One of the best games I played. But that game, it was a very story heavy game,
Yeah.
and it was like, and the story was good, the gameplay was great, and then they're both great. But what really made that game amazing was how they both, the story and gameplay, worked together. Because like in a game, like in another game where it's not as like, it doesn't work as well as like, they'll tell you like, oh, but like there'll be a point where they'll say they're like, you can leave now, like in a game they're like, you can leave now, I'll take care of the situation. And I'm pretty sure if you played Deus Ex, you know which situation I'm talking about. He's like, you can leave now, don't worry about it, let me handle it. And in
Mhm.
other games it's like they kind of just throw you out the door, and it's like, here you go. And
Yeah.
then the story will continue, and then something will have happened because you left that area.
Yeah.
But then you don't really, this it doesn't really connect to you or the gameplay, because you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice to stay. You were, the game forces you out. But in Deus Ex there was a part where they're like, don't worry, I got this. You
Mhm.
can choose to stay, and then if you choose to stay, you can not do anything or do something, or it's like that. I loaded so many times in Deus Ex to see what I can or can't do. It's like,
Mm.
because the game doesn't tell you. The game is like, they'll just give you the story, and then but then the gameplay doesn't force my guy into a cutscene and he leaves the room. It like puts me back in the room, and then I'm like, what can I do? Can I do something to that guy? Can I do something to no one? Can I do something to the room? Can I just leave the room? Can I leave the room late? It's like, so it's like,
yeah,
and then when you do whatever choice you choose in that situation, at least in Deus Ex, for this example, it will affect the story like for the rest of the game, and
Yeah.
it's great. And then it's like, that's why Deus Ex's story was so well done, is because it complemented the gameplay, and then the gameplay in turn worked with the story. It's like, that's where it is. Story is, it's going to be part of the gameplay. That's what it's supposed to be. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be like a separate entity. It's
Yeah. And
like,
there were some things. I mean, I really did like Deus Ex Invisible War. I really liked Deus Ex Human Revolution. I liked kind of where they were going with it, but there were a couple of things about it that I wasn't a big fan of. I did not like the fact that there were, and I think everybody's already railed on this, so I'm not going to do too much of it, but the boss battles, which were
yeah,
totally not optional. You could not talk your way out of them. You had to do gunplay, which if you're going through the game, the good thing about Deus Ex is you could talk your way out of anything. You could get out of just about any situation without really shooting anything.
Yeah, or avoid. You don't even have to talk.
Or
you can just sneak your way.
Yeah, you could play the entire game as just a straight hacker, just sneaking around everywhere, popping open doors, hacking terminals, things like that. But when you get to the first boss battle in the FEMA building,
yeah,
and you deal with this big old, super armed, stereotypical Southern guy, and I think his name was actually Tex. I don't know if they were just sleeping that day, but those were all farmed out. They were all done by another company. They weren't done by Eidos. They found somebody else to do it. But they were such a jarring change. It was like, we're going to shoehorn action in here whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And that did irritate me. Now with the new one, what little I've read and what little has been, and we'll find out more when that article, comes out, digital versions of the Game Informer article, because they're the ones that got the exclusive. Game Informer did. So if you have the digital version, you can read it now, or if you have the print version, I don't know if it's out yet, but it's the May issue. And basically, you are no longer part of Seraph Industries. You are now a merc, essentially, and you're trying to be Robin Hood with augments, kind of. Yeah, it goes that way. And the trailer is absolutely phenomenal, but
they have a trailer for it already? Oh, geez.
Yeah, okay. The trailer is awesome. It's actually opnoobs.com. We have a link right on the article. If you click on news, the trailer is there. Oh. I know. I only know about it because I wrote it. But that being said, it's getting kind of heavy-handed with the social justice thing and the how do humans, it's almost like X-Men Days of Future Past has been shoehorned into Deus Ex now. Now we have a situation. Actually, I'm wrong. When that article was posted, it did not have a trailer. The trailer is available now anywhere, so you can find it no problem. Nice. There was a sample of gameplay footage, but that was taken down by a lovely little DMCA takedown notice. From the source, not us. We didn't tick anybody off yet. But it's almost like, is there a need in the story to be so heavy-handed with a morality system? I mean, plenty of games have done it. I think this might be the last topic because I think the guy that's recording this is probably falling asleep at the command console. So is there really a need to shove so much heavy-handed morality into games? I mean, Dragon Age, just from the recent ones, Dragon Age and BioShock.
Say no.
I think it just makes you. I think it just makes you think a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like with morality, you have to. It makes you feel the impact of your decisions, because before they had those kind of morality choices where your decisions actually affect the story, you could just do whatever, like kill off this dude, kill off this lady, not care. You know what I mean? Whatever, screw them. But like if you play like BioShock or anything like that, where killing the person or actually taking out the person or whatever it actually can affect your story, then it's a different thing, because you actually have to think, okay, do I want to save this guy, or do I want to just say screw this guy? And, those kind of choices are really nice because it shows like the more realistic. It relates to us on a more human level, with the problems.
Yeah, it depends. It depends how it's done. Because like the first Deus Ex, it was done well because there is like some morally choices you got to do, but it wasn't like really. It didn't feel as forced upon. It felt natural. Like the progression felt like you went through like whatever mission you were doing, and then you happened to be put in a situation where that happened. And then you're like forced to decide, and then most of it was like it would be morally like ambiguous. There wasn't a clear black and white situation. So it's like they did it well. Like for example, Fallout 3 didn't really do it well. Fallout 3, it was just like
Tenpenny Tower was a great choice. All right.
It's like you did something good, here's karma points. You did something bad, give me those karma points back. And it's like it turned into like just a point system. It's like it made it like really like shallow, I guess. Yeah. And then it's like some games they don't need morality at all, because like that's not the reason why you play those like games. Like Mortal Kombat, for example, you don't play to is violence bad or is violence good. You play it so you crush someone's skull or rip their heart out. That's why you play the game. That's why I'm pretty sure pretty guaranteed that the storyline for Mortal Kombat is not going to have any like overall moral like issue. It's going to be like there's a bad guy, you got to kill him, you got to rip his arm
Zombie
off.
Liu Kang, man. That's
Zombie
the best
Liu Kang
character
is
ever.
coming, man. It's coming.
Also, honestly, I might lie a little bit. Favorite fatality out of all the games so far. I'm kind of liking the Johnny Cage rip open the skull or rip open the rib cage.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one a lot. What was the other one? The Cage's daughter apparently.
Oh, the selfie one.
Selfie one. That's actually kind of good, but still. But getting back to morality in games, and since we'll use Deus Ex, why the heck not? I was just playing Human Revolution earlier, and I was in Hengsha, and there's a mission where you have to either plant drugs on a pimp, or you knock him out and you throw him into an alleyway, and gravity will do the rest, as the quest actually tells you. So the question is, yes, he's a pimp, but you're still framing somebody for something they didn't do.
Yeah.
Or you're knocking them out and then throwing them off a roof, which for all intents and purposes, you're still killing the guy because you knocked him out. He's helpless. You're pushing him off a roof. He dies. So that's a real weird choice to make when you could be either straight-laced, by the book, ex-cop, follows the rules, or you can shoot first, ask questions never. So, I mean, is it really a moral choice? I mean, you can decline to do the quest at all, but you still miss out on an achievement, and you still miss out on the rewards. So you almost have to be kind of pushed into doing it, but you're not really pushed into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there was no other decision for that quest, by the way. Those were the only two outcomes.
That was it. I mean,
yes.
you did have the ability. Well, no, actually, that's it. That's right.
Yeah, because it's like,
so
I guess a third option would be like if you could warn the guy or something like that. It's
the only options were the good path were to plant the drugs in his apartment, or the bad path, which there's no karma. There's no retribution, anything like that in game.
System.
Yeah, there's no system for that, which is good. You can play it like straight anti-hero or, vicious corporate raider type thing, or, above board guy, and it won't make a difference at the end of the day. But your good aspect was plant drugs, he lives. Bad aspect, knock him out, toss him over the cliff.
Yeah,
or toss him over.
You're good.
So... But the developers are actually kind of pushing you toward that because, hey, you get an achievement. We like those, right? and you get a reward. So
a lot of people are completionists.
Yeah, because you get the achievement for throwing off the ledge, I believe, right? Or planning. I think. Yeah, I think it's only if you throw them off the ledge. I'm not 100% sure, but it's like that kind of sucks. But then I guess you can just save and reload like I did. So.
Yeah, you can save scum, but it's I'm looking it up now. Basically, it's it's just an achievement for completing the quest line.
Oh, okay. Then
so
it's like
you have to complete it, and there's no other way out of it. So you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
But and again, to whore out OP noobs, we actually had. We have a woman on staff, and she wrote a really well done article about morality in gaming and why we have a predilection to killing everything in sight, and because it's fun.
Yeah, that's what GTA. GTA was the game that made that not convinced everyone, but showed everyone like that's what you want to do in a game. You don't come to a game for morals. You come to a game to have fun and because when GTA first came out, it got really controversial, and Rockstar.
Yeah, I remember it was on the nightly news and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And Rockstar got a lot of bad rap. But then after the fourth GTA, and Rockstar won the day because everyone still bought the game.
Yeah,
everyone found out that it is, at the end of the day, it is fun to run people over.
Yeah, and do crazy stuff. And I think that's why it got so much big fame. Is the fact that it allows you to do whatever you want. You know what I mean? You could fly and kill a mass amount of people, and you just lose the cops, and you're good.
Yeah, for me, that's why morality in gaming, it depends on the game. It depends on the game. Like GTA is a comedy, it's a satire of American culture. So
Are
it's
you
like,
sure at this
yeah,
point?
it's like, it's not, so it's like, they're not going to like go moral, like you shouldn't kill these guys or anything. Like GTA is like, that's fine. But like Bioshock or like, I don't know, Deus Ex or like some other stuff, like they can put more, they can put a little bit more than Mortal Kombat can. It's like I don't want morals in Mortal Kombat, but if I find some moral choice I have to make in BioShock, the mood of the game fits it. So it's not like it's unnatural that I came upon a moral decision to make.
I
So
just
that's at
harvested.
least.
I just harvested all of them.
Yeah,
Screw
just
it.
like,
I wanted
oh,
all. I wanted the bad ending, then I wanted the good ending, and I thought, yeah, I
do
can get
half. You just harvest half and leave the rest and see if there's a neutral ending in there somewhere.
basically. But the only other thing that I wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about as of yet, man, I'm a big RPG gamer. Witcher 3 is coming out. Not one of you is going to see me for a month when that thing comes out because I'm going to disappear. But the weird thing is CD Projekt Red recently said that they were not going to have any season pass. Now they have a season pass.
Yeah.
Well,
it's really weird, but here's the thing that gets me is they just recently released 2 pieces of DLC, which they're actually calling standalone expansions. I remember those from way back when, just expansions, but they're calling them, the first one is Hearts of Stone. It's going to be $10 and it's going to have at least 20 to 30 hours of gameplay added on. Yeah, that's DLC.
20 to 30 hours? Yeah, that's good.
And then the second one is going to be called Blood and Wine, which has an estimated gameplay of 20 hours. Now, I think it's safe to say everybody hates DLC because, well, most people hate DLC because Evolve. That's all I'm going to say. Turtle Rock, I'm watching you, you bastards. $150 of DLC. But we have The Witcher 3, which I already know is going to be awesome because I just started replaying The Witcher and I remember how much I love that game. Now that I have a machine that can run it no problem, it's a lot more fun. But the problem is we all rail on DLC, but what do we do when this game company releases a huge game and then releases DLC that actually expands the game? Do we even know what to do with it? Do we rage on it? Do we like it? What do we do?
I mean, most people, it depends because there's DLC that comes out after a game comes out, like Skyrim. Skyrim did DLC in my personal opinion perfectly because they allowed the game, they put a whole bunch of content in the game, they did it really good, and then afterwards they brought DLC in for anyone that wants it, and they do, But a lot of people nowadays with the games and the game companies, they'll put DLC in the disc, they'll lock it off, so you have to buy it off even though it's in the disc. And then they'll make it where like some games aren't even completed unless you get the DLC, And it seems really punishing sometimes with a lot of companies, and that's the problem. If the game comes in full content, really good game, and then later on they add extra DLC with whatever the community may be asking for, then that's a good DLC. But when they already have DLC, where you can pre-order the DLC before the game even comes out, that's when DLC becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's one other than day one DLC, because that's like a whole different we can save that for the next podcast. That at least when it comes to that kind I just don't like when they announce DLC before the game's out. Or even if the game is out a week later, they're like, boom, DLC pass. It's it's still too soon. I think release the game, let it go for a little bit, and then like you said, Skyrim did it perfectly. Not only was the game awesome itself, but it was months later, then they were like, all right, boom, DLC. It's it was what is it, Dawnguard? They're like, here you go. But Mortal Kombat is already going here's a combat pack for DLC characters before the game even comes out, and then now Witcher's doing it. It's a lot of companies, and then it's a lot of companies do that, and it's even though those are not Mortal Kombat is debatable whether it's day one DLC or not, but at least when it comes to The Witcher, it's it's not day one DLC, but it is a pass, a DLC pass for DLC in the future. But then it's like,
Yeah.
why? Like, why announce it? That's fine if they already had it planned. That's cool. But why announce it now before the game's out? And then why also take pre-order for it? Because I mean, announcing is you can get away with it as long as you do it like you do it in a way where it's not like we want you to buy it. Like if they were like,
Yeah.
Witcher's coming out. By the way, there is going to be a DLC pass later down the road, which is going to give you a lot of content, and then they just tell you like it's going to be like 20 hours, 30 hours of content. You guys are going to love it. But then like that's it. That's still fine. But then if they're like already going like DLC pass before, you can already pre-order the DLC pass before the game even comes out. It's like, come on. It's like you guys couldn't at least waited like till after the game, because it's like games at that point, games don't become $60. They become like $80, $90. Like Mortal Kombat with the combat pack. If you want to get the combat pack, that's $90 right there for the game and the combat pack. It's like that's ridiculous. Like special editions used to be $70, $80. It's like, what happened to those?
But what's interesting? What's interesting is that we're now in a weird space, because honestly, The Witcher 3, we've gone through The Witcher, which was phenomenal. We've gone through Witcher 2, which was even better, debatable, but I think it was. I mean, it changed up the mechanics a bit, and it added a fancy coat of paint and made people's machines cry even harder than Crysis in some cases. And now we have Witcher 3, so we have a company with a proven track record, which has done really well by the gaming community in being, spearheading GOG.com, which GOG.com, yeah. And we know that they aren't like super, super insane about things like EA or Activision or any of the other crazy companies, Ubisoft. We know, and we generally like CG Project Red. So now they're releasing DLC, which we hate, and a season pass, which we hate, but they're releasing 50 hours of content. Do we hate this? Do we like it? I mean, it's good that they're doing it, and it's probably something that they worked on after the game was finished, I hope. But couldn't that have been shoved into the game, or was it too late? I mean, can we ever really know?
Yeah, see, exactly.
Yeah.
I think you hit it right, like the nail on the head, so to speak. I think that's the reason why it's so distrustful, even from a company who, like the people who make Witcher, is that when you announce it before the game comes out, it's like, does that mean you guys that was completed with the game as well? So, but then you guys were like, nah, let's not put that in the disc. Let's just leave that on the side and then sell that later for more money.
That's what it really seems that companies are really doing now. They'll get a complete game, take out any extra, parts, whatever that they may have in it, and just put it in the DLC.
But then it's like, why don't you wait? It's like, why don't you just wait till the game's like after the game comes out for like a month? Like just then after that, then it's like, here you go. And then it's like, because then people can go like, oh, and then they worked on it for that month after it was released. They worked on it then, even though let's say they didn't. Let's say they worked on it before the game was released. At least you can give them the benefit of the doubt if they announced it later. But then they don't. Like companies, they don't. They're like, I guess because they know people are gonna buy it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because everyone complains about it, but at the end of the day, they're gonna buy it. It's like,
but still, I mean, it's totally sold out now. But I think, as much as I want to rag on CD Projekt Red and The Witcher for, oh crap, they're releasing DLC before the game's even out, or they're talking about it, and they doubled back on that. They also said that they're going to release a lot of free DLC, so they actually don't even see, and this is where it gets kind of questionable. They're saying that the expansions, the DLC that I just mentioned, which is still DLC, they're calling them full-on expansions, but they're still releasing free DLC as well, which the free DLC hasn't even been mentioned what it is yet. So now, like, is this a possibility of seeing game companies come back to making expansion packs? Do you think?
You mean come back to like other games, like older games?
Yeah. It's like not only that, because let me pull. Because
I don't
basically
know.
it was said that, yeah, we're still doing free DLC, but we as a company see these two, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, we see these as expansions, standalone expansions with new characters, new content, new equipment, and all the other stuff that usually comes with quests. But we're treating those as expansions, but we're still going to have free DLC. So they're kind of seeing this as more like Blood Moon and Tribunal from Morrowind than anything else.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is it time for expansions to come back? Also, I don't know if anybody saw the Witcher 3 collector's edition. Oh, that was nice. Too bad it's sold out in about 20 minutes worldwide. But go ahead. I think this is going to be our final bit for today.
Yeah, at least when it comes to expansion versus DLC, I mean, at the end of the day, at least for me, they're kind of the same. It's just it's how it's done, I guess. Because like don't sell me what is the classic DLC? What was it?
Horse armor.
Horse armor. Oblivion horse armor. Don't sell me horse armor for how much was it? Like $10 for horse armor?
No, it was a buck. It was $2.99.
Oh, $2.99 still for a horse armor.
Yeah.
$2.99. It's like,
and it did nothing.
yeah, it's like come on. It's like, I mean, if you want to at least sell it for like money, if you really like cannot sell it, give it for free, then like 50 cents, like not $3, like 50 cents, okay, but anyways, I mean, like, yeah, horse armor, for example, that would be good as free DLC. You know, that's what at least I guess I would call like DLC horse armor. But then I would want that free because I'm not gonna like, even if it was 50 cents, it's like then I gotta like, you know, put in a card, and then usually places you have to do a minimum $5 to put on your account. I don't know. It's like I don't want to go through all that, and it's like that for that. It's like, yeah, those things are too much. But when it comes to expansion, like Oblivion, Shivering Isles, on the other hand, like Oblivion, same game, Shivering Isles, amazing. That expansion was great. It was so long. It was like how many hours of gameplay, and I think it was what, $20, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least I thought that expansion was fantastic. Maybe it's because I was younger at the time, so like I thought a lot more. It's like, so I don't know, but they did that well. It was $20, and at that time, I still remember at the time I was like $20 for DLC. I was like, no way, because I think that was the most expensive DLC. At least I could remember at the time.
Yeah.
When DLC was like going for the first time. It
was pretty high up there, yeah.
Yeah, it blew my mind. I was like, $20, that's like a third of a game. I was like, that's ridiculous. But then you get it, at least I got it. It was amazing. And it was worth the $20. But then that's because it was like a full expansion. That was like 10 hours, 8 hours. And it was a whole new area. The area was massive. You get quests, you get new items you can bring back to the vanilla game. Mm-hmm. You have the new characters, things like that, new powers and stuff.
Yeah,
it was great.
For Oblivion, it was like Mehrunes Dagger, which I used a lot of.
Yeah. The little small packs.
Yeah, the Vile Lair, which is the underground cove if you were a bad character or a Dark Brotherhood assassin, which I always am. The pirate ship in the cave, the orrery. Yeah, the orrery if you were a magic user. There was some other stuff too that I can't remember, but yeah, great stuff. But yeah, so anyway, I think we are wrapping things up. I cannot imagine. Let me see. Wow, we've been talking a while. And I won't shut up on Twitter, but anyway. So final thoughts, folks. There's a lot of great stuff that's coming out for PC in the next couple of months.
Even the next week.
Even in the next week, yeah. It's going to be really hard to pick a couple of games. But if you were going to pick just one game, we already know from you, Nor. But if you were going to pick one game that you would just play for the rest of this year, any thoughts? And then we'll end on that, because I think everybody else is asleep.
I mean, I did say I pre-ordered GTA 5, but if I could, it would be Mortal Kombat X, but I'm just gonna wait till they make a Game of Year edition and throw all the DLC in that. That's another discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll wait for Mortal Kombat also.
Yeah,
Mortal
gave
Kombat's
it.
very nice.
But yeah, if I could Mortal Kombat, that would basically that's the run in for the game of the year this year as of April.
You DJ, you still with us?
I'm still here.
Cool.
Any game that I could just play that's
Yeah,
coming
just
out.
whether it be one that's coming out or if you don't like what's coming out, if
Or
you just had one choice, like say Steam died and BattleNet died and Uplay died, and thank God if it does. But if you just had only one game to play for the rest of the year out of all of them that you already have or might want, what do you think it would be?
or if you believe Half-Life 3 is coming out this year.
Honestly, I've been really hyped about Grand Theft Auto 5
Nice.
PC edition because I've just been, wanting an online Grand Theft Auto, and now it's coming, and so I mean, it's just I believe it's just the. I don't know. That's just a game I would pick just off the top of my head right now.
Sure.
It's because it's what I've been hyped up for a while, and I honestly didn't think we would ever see it coming.
Yeah, for definite. But all right, well, if anybody's still alive or just joined us, I'm sorry, but we've been talking for 3.5 hours, and
Yeah.
we gotta shut up now, folks. So if anybody wants to watch this marathon of a podcast, all you got to do is take a look on the OPN channel, OP Noobs Online, also known as twitch.tv/OP Noobs Online, and just look under the old broadcast. We're also going to have it on our YouTube page once it gets cleaned up and made pretty and my face is removed and replaced with Handsome Jack avatar. And other than that, from myself, Steven, Slave to the Machine, DJ Sketch96, XTI, and Nor, God, I don't want to butcher your last name, sir. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with us. And hopefully we can do this again next week where we talk either as long or slightly shorter.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Yeah. See y'all.